The Soul Requirements, Connecting with Others, by David Rousseau. Introduction, Connecting with Others. Welcome. In your journey of the soul, the first step is understanding yourself, the patterns, the fears, the light that already exists within you. But a soul that only turns inward is like a river that never reaches the ocean. The second requirement of the soul is connection, how we engage with others, how we share energy, and how we cultivate relationships that support our growth and elevate our spirit. Connection is not simply about being surrounded by people. It is about meaningful engagement, conscious presence, and the ability to see beyond surface interactions. Every person you meet, every conversation you have, is an opportunity to learn, to heal, and to expand your awareness. Your relationships act as mirrors, reflecting back the parts of yourself that need love, attention, and understanding. They are teachers, guides, and sometimes gentle challengers pushing you to step into your highest potential. This book is a guide to navigating the world of connection with intention and heart. We will explore how to listen deeply, speak with kindness, and set boundaries that honor both yourself and others. You will learn to recognize energy exchanges that uplift or drain you, to heal patterns that no longer serve your growth, and to cultivate empathy and compassion without losing yourself. Through conscious connection, forgiveness, and community, you will discover that love is not merely an emotion, it is a spiritual practice. As you move through these chapters, I invite you to approach each lesson with curiosity and openness. Notice how your interactions shape your inner landscape, how your words and actions ripple through the lives of others, and how the connections you nurture can transform your spiritual journey. By embracing connection as a sacred practice, you are not only enriching your life, you are participating in the evolution of your soul and the collective soul of humanity. Let us begin this journey together, opening our hearts to the possibility that every relationship, every encounter, and every shared moment is an opportunity to grow, to heal, and to love more fully. Chapter 1. The Soul of Connection. Every soul is born in relation, not isolation. Even before we speak our first words or take our first steps, we are connected to our parents, to the earth, to the invisible threads of life that hold us in existence. Connection is not merely social, it is spiritual. It is the recognition that we are part of something larger than ourselves, a web of energy and consciousness that extends far beyond what the eye can see. When we understand the soul of connection, we begin to see relationships not as accidental, but as intentional mirrors. Each person we encounter reflects aspects of ourselves, our strengths, our shadows, our unhealed wounds, and our deepest capacities for love. Some connections challenge us, pushing us to face discomfort or fear. Others uplift us, reminding us of joy, trust, and the beauty of shared life. Both types are equally important. Both are teachers. Spiritual growth often occurs at the edges of comfort, in the spaces where relationships test our patience, empathy, and understanding. When someone triggers anger, jealousy, or fear, it is not merely a problem with them, it is an opportunity to look inward. What part of me is being reflected in this interaction? What lesson am I ready to learn? Through this lens, every connection becomes sacred, a doorway to deeper self-awareness and expansion. Yet connection is not about losing yourself in others. It is about balance, honoring your own energy, while fully engaging with the energy of those around you. It is about presence, listening, and being willing to meet another soul with authenticity. The soul of connection is not passive. It is active, intentional, and alive. It calls us to awaken to the subtle energies that flow between people, to recognize the unseen threads that bind us, and to treat each interaction as a spiritual practice. As we explore this chapter, invite yourself to reflect on the relationships in your life. Notice which ones nourish your spirit and which ones challenge it. Understand that every encounter, no matter how brief, is a chance to practice empathy, kindness, and conscious engagement. The soul of connection is the first step toward transforming relationships from mere social contracts into sacred opportunities for growth, healing, and love. Chapter 2. The Art of Listening. Listening is one of the most powerful gifts we can offer, yet it is rarely practiced fully. Too often, we listen to respond, to argue, or to plan our next words. True listening, however, is something entirely different. It is an act of presence. It is the conscious choice to enter another's world, to feel what they feel, and to honor their truth without judgment. When we listen deeply, we are not just hearing words, we are tuning into emotions, intentions, and energy. Every pause, every sigh, every shift in tone carries meaning. By giving our full attention, we create a sacred space where another soul can be fully seen and heard. This is the foundation of authentic connection. Without it, even the closest relationships can feel distant. The art of listening begins within. To listen outwardly, we must first quiet the inner chatter, the thoughts, fears, and judgments that pull us away from the present moment. This inner stillness allows us to be fully available, to respond from compassion rather than reaction, and to engage with the subtle currents of communication that often go unnoticed. Listening also teaches patience. It requires us to resist the urge to fix, advise, or interrupt, and instead simply hold space for another's experience. In this silence, transformation occurs. The speaker feels validated, and the listener expands in understanding, empathy, and connection. Each act of deep listening is a spiritual practice, a moment in which we step beyond the self and touch the essence of another. As you move through this chapter, notice the ways you listen in your life. Which conversations are met with distraction or judgment? Where can you offer presence without expectation? By cultivating the art of listening, you are not only improving your relationships, you are strengthening your soul's ability to connect, to understand, and to love without conditions. Listening fully is a doorway to intimacy, compassion, and spiritual growth, a simple practice with profound impact. Chapter 3. Empathy and Compassion. Empathy and compassion are the bridges that connect our hearts to the hearts of others. They allow us to feel another's joy, sorrow, fear, or love, not as an abstract idea, but as a living experience. Yet, many struggle with this practice because they fear losing themselves in the emotions of others. True empathy does not mean absorbing someone else's pain as your own. Instead, it is the ability to feel with clarity, presence, and discernment. When we cultivate empathy, we begin to see the world through the eyes of another soul. We recognize that every person is carrying their own story, their own burdens, and their own beauty. Compassion arises naturally from this awareness, a desire to ease suffering, to offer kindness, and to hold space for growth. It is not pity, nor is it obligation. Compassion is a conscious choice to act with love while respecting the autonomy of others. The challenge lies in maintaining balance. Without boundaries, empathy can become overwhelming, leaving us drained, resentful, or disconnected from our own needs. With awareness, however, empathy becomes a tool for connection, and compassion becomes a practice that strengthens both our relationships and our inner life. By feeling alongside others without taking on their energy as our own, we cultivate resilience, understanding, and spiritual maturity. Every act of compassion is transformative. A listening ear, a gentle word, a small act of kindness, they ripple outward in ways that often go unseen, yet profoundly impact the flow of energy between souls. In practicing empathy, we honor the shared human experience, recognizing that love is not a finite resource, but an ever-expanding force that grows when it is given freely. As you engage with this chapter, reflect on your relationships. Where can you practice deeper empathy? Where can compassion guide your actions instead of judgment or avoidance? By stepping into this sacred space, you strengthen your soul, heal connections, and open your life to the profound power of love as both a practice and a way of being. Chapter 4. Healthy Boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are the sacred lines that protect your energy, your time, and your spirit. In relationships, whether with family, friends, colleagues, or romantic partners, boundaries define what is acceptable, what nourishes you, and what drains you. They are an essential tool for loving fully without losing yourself. Many of us have been taught that setting boundaries is selfish or unkind. In reality, boundaries are an act of self-respect and compassion both for yourself and for others. When you clearly communicate your needs, limits, and intentions, you create space for authentic connection. Without them, relationships can become entangled, imbalanced, or even toxic. Healthy boundaries are rooted in awareness. They begin with recognizing your feelings, identifying what feels supportive, and noticing what leaves you depleted. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about controlling the energy you allow into your life. They give you the freedom to engage with love, rather than obligation, fear, or guilt. Boundaries also empower you to respond instead of react. When you know your limits, you can navigate difficult conversations with clarity and presence. You can say yes when your heart is open, and no when your energy requires protection. This practice is not rigidity, it is conscious flexibility, guided by respect and self-care. As you reflect on this chapter, consider the areas of your life where boundaries are unclear or weak. What drains your energy? Where do you need to speak your truth? By cultivating healthy boundaries, you create a foundation for sustainable relationships, deeper empathy, and spiritual growth. In honoring yourself, you honor the other, and you transform every connection into a conscious exchange of love and respect. Chapter 5: Healing Relationship Patterns. Our relationships often repeat familiar patterns, carrying echoes of past experiences, unhealed wounds, and subconscious beliefs. These patterns can show up as conflict, mistrust, codependency, or repeated heartbreak. While they may feel inevitable, they are actually invitations, opportunities to recognize what no longer serves you and to step into conscious, loving connection. Healing begins with awareness. Notice the recurring dynamics in your relationships. Are there situations where you feel unheard, disrespected, or unfulfilled? Do you find yourself attracting similar types of people or repeating the same conflicts? These patterns are not punishments. They are mirrors reflecting aspects of yourself that are ready for growth. Once you identify these patterns, you can begin to release them. This requires courage, self-compassion, and honesty. It may involve difficult conversations, letting go of toxic connections, or forgiving both yourself and others for past mistakes. Healing does not mean erasing the past. It means learning from it, transforming old pain into wisdom, and choosing new ways of relating. Energy also plays a role in these patterns. Some relationships keep us trapped in cycles because of unconscious attachment or unbalanced exchange. By recognizing where your energy is being drained or misaligned, you gain the ability to engage consciously, choosing connections that support your soul rather than diminish it. Healing relationship patterns is a spiritual practice. Each step you take, each boundary set, each compassionate conversation, each release is a reclaiming of your power and an opening to deeper love. As you work through this chapter, allow yourself to see patterns with curiosity rather than judgment. Every relationship can become a teacher, every challenge a doorway, and every healed pattern a step toward freedom, fulfillment, and soul-aligned connection. Chapter 6: Sacred Communication. Communication is more than the words we speak. It is the energy we carry, the intention behind our voice, and the way we listen as much as we speak. Sacred communication transforms ordinary interactions into opportunities for connection, understanding, and healing. It is the art of speaking truth with kindness and listening with presence and openness. Too often, communication is reactive, shaped by fear, habit, or ego. Words can wound, even unintentionally, and silence can create distance. Sacred communication calls us to slow down, to pause before responding, and to engage with awareness. It is rooted in respect for both yourself and the other, in the understanding that every conversation is a spiritual exchange. The first step is clarity. Speak your truth simply and honestly, without blame or judgment. Use I statements that express your feelings and needs, rather than projecting assumptions or criticism onto others. This invites openness and reduces defensiveness, creating space for authentic connection. Equally important is listening. Sacred communication is a two-way flow. We must hear not just the words, but the emotion and energy behind them. When we listen fully, without planning a response or interrupting, we honor the speaker and create a space for trust and intimacy to grow. In practice, sacred communication also involves attunement to energy, feeling the subtle shifts in tension, understanding the unsaid, and responding from presence rather than reaction. Each word becomes a conscious choice, each pause a doorway to deeper understanding. As you move through this chapter, reflect on the ways you communicate in your life. Are your words bridges or barriers? Are you speaking your truth with compassion and listening with full attention? By cultivating sacred communication, you transform every conversation into a spiritual practice and opportunity to deepen connection, nurture empathy, and allow love to flow freely and consciously. Chapter 7. The Power of Forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most profound spiritual practices available to us. It is not about condoning hurt, excusing harm, or pretending that pain did not occur. Forgiveness is a conscious choice to release the weight of resentment, anger, or judgment, and to reclaim your own peace and freedom. In this act, the soul is liberated, and the energy of connection is restored. Holding onto grudges may feel protective, but it ultimately keeps us tethered to the past. Every unresolved grievance can echo in our relationships, subtly shaping interactions and influencing how we see ourselves and others. Forgiveness does not erase what happened, it transforms it. It allows you to see beyond the harm and recognize the shared humanity in every soul, even those who have caused pain. True forgiveness begins within. It starts with acknowledging your own feelings, allowing yourself to fully experience hurt, and choosing to release it rather than letting it define you. It requires compassion, both for yourself and for the other person. By forgiving, you are not saying the wrong was acceptable, you are saying that your well-being, your heart, and your spiritual growth are more important than holding onto resentment. Forgiveness also opens the door to healing relationships. It allows connection to flow freely again, unburdened by past wounds. Even when reconciliation is not possible, forgiveness restores your energy and your heart, creating space for love, joy, and authentic connection to enter. As you reflect on this chapter, consider the people, events, or even yourself that may still carry unresolved pain. Imagine releasing that weight, moment by moment, breath by breath. By embracing the power of forgiveness, you step into freedom. You allow your soul to expand, your heart to soften, and your relationships to be guided by love, compassion, and understanding. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is the ultimate expression of strength, wisdom, and spiritual maturity. Chapter 8. Energy Exchange. Every interaction we have carries energy. Whether we realize it or not, the thoughts, emotions, and intentions we bring into a conversation or relationship are exchanged like currents in a river, flowing back and forth between souls. Understanding energy exchange is essential for conscious connection, for it shapes not only how we feel in the moment, but also the long-term health of our relationships and our own spiritual growth. Some interactions uplift us, filling us with light, inspiration, and joy. Others can drain our energy, leaving us anxious, frustrated, or depleted. The difference often lies in awareness. When we are conscious of the energy we carry and receive, we can choose how to engage, how to protect ourselves, and how to participate in exchanges that nurture rather than diminish our spirit. Energy exchange begins with self-awareness. Notice how you feel before, during, and after interactions. Are you giving more than you are receiving? Are you absorbing emotions that do not belong to you? By tuning into these subtle cues, you gain insight into which relationships support your growth and which may require boundaries, realignment, or release. Equally important is the energy you contribute. Every word, gesture, and thought carries intention. Approaching interactions with mindfulness, compassion, and presence ensures that your energy uplifts rather than harms. When both parties engage consciously, the exchange becomes mutual, harmonious, and transformative, a dance of giving and receiving that nourishes the soul. As you explore this chapter, reflect on your own energy exchanges. Identify where you may be unconsciously giving too much or taking on the energy of others. Consider how conscious engagement can transform these interactions into opportunities for healing, learning, and love. By mastering the flow of energy in your relationships, you step into the full power of connection, where every encounter becomes a sacred dialogue of hearts and souls. Chapter 9. Nurturing Community. Humans are inherently social beings, and our souls thrive in connection not only with individuals, but within communities. A community is more than a group of people. It is a living, energetic network that supports growth, nurtures the heart, and mirrors our spiritual journey. When we consciously participate in community, we discover that we are never truly alone, and that our highest potential is amplified through shared presence and purpose. Nurturing community begins with intention. Seek spaces and relationships that uplift, inspire, and align with your values. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth. Hold space for authenticity, and celebrate the uniqueness of each soul. A healthy community is reciprocal. Energy flows both ways, nourishing every member while respecting boundaries and individuality. Participation is an act of giving and receiving. Offer your presence, your attention, and your gifts, while also being open to support, guidance, and learning from others. In this exchange, trust and empathy are cultivated, and the collective energy becomes stronger, more harmonious, and transformative. Communities become vessels for healing, shared wisdom, and spiritual expansion. When each member engages with consciousness and care, challenges will arise. Even in the most loving communities, conflicts, misunderstandings, and differing perspectives are inevitable. Yet these moments are opportunities to practice patience, compassion, and conscious communication. By addressing issues with mindfulness and heart-centered awareness, the community grows stronger, and each individual deepens their spiritual resilience. As you reflect on this chapter, consider the communities in your life. Which ones support your growth, and which may require healthy distance or boundaries? How can you contribute meaningfully while remaining true to yourself? By nurturing conscious communities, you create a network of support, connection, and shared purpose, a living tapestry of souls working together in harmony, love, and spiritual evolution. Chapter 10. Love as a spiritual practice. Seeing every relationship as a mirror and teacher. Love is often spoken about as a feeling, something that arrives unexpectedly, and sometimes fades just as quickly. Yet at the deepest level of the soul, love is far more than emotion. It is a practice, a conscious way of moving through the world. When love becomes a spiritual practice, every relationship in your life transforms into a classroom for growth, awareness, and compassion. Each person you encounter reflects something back to you. Some reflect your kindness and generosity, reminding you of the light you carry within. Others reflect your fears, insecurities, or unresolved wounds. These reflections are not accidents. They are invitations, opportunities to understand yourself more deeply and to expand your capacity for love. When someone brings joy into your life, it is easy to feel gratitude. But when someone challenges you, triggers frustration, or causes pain, the spiritual practice of love asks something more of you. It asks you to pause and look inward. What is this experience revealing about me? What belief, fear, or expectation is being illuminated through this interaction? In this way, even the most difficult relationships can become powerful teachers. This does not mean accepting harmful behavior or ignoring the need for boundaries. Love as a spiritual practice includes wisdom and self-respect. It means recognizing the lesson without abandoning your own well-being. Sometimes love calls you to lean closer, to listen more deeply, and to respond with patience. Other times, love asks you to step back, to create distance, or to release a connection that no longer supports your growth. The mirror of relationship also reveals your ability to offer compassion. Every person you meet is navigating their own inner landscape of hopes, fears, memories, and struggles. When you remember this, it becomes easier to approach others with empathy rather than judgment. Instead of reacting to behavior alone, you begin to sense the deeper human experience behind it. Practicing love in this way requires awareness. It asks you to move beyond automatic reactions and to respond with intention. In moments of tension, it invites you to breathe before speaking. In moments of misunderstanding, it encourages curiosity instead of blame. These small shifts transform everyday interactions into spiritual exercises, strengthening your patience, humility, and compassion. Over time, this practice changes how you see the world. Relationships stop feeling random or frustrating and begin to feel meaningful and purposeful. Each person becomes a messenger carrying insight about your own growth. Some show you where healing is still needed, Others remind you of the joy, connection, and belonging that love can bring. Perhaps the greatest lesson of love as a spiritual practice is that it begins within. The way you treat others often reflects the way you treat yourself. When you cultivate patience, forgiveness, and kindness toward your own journey, these qualities naturally extend outward into your relationships. The more compassion you hold for yourself, the more freely you can offer it to others. As you move forward, consider viewing every relationship through this sacred lens. The friend who encourages you, the stranger who offers kindness, the colleague who challenges your patience, and even the difficult connections that test your limits, all are part of your spiritual education. Each interaction carries a message, a reflection, and an opportunity to grow. Love, when practiced consciously, becomes a path of awakening. It softens the heart, deepens understanding, and reveals the interconnected nature of all souls. Through this practice, you begin to see that every relationship, no matter how brief or complex, is a teacher, guiding you closer to wisdom, compassion, and the fullest expression of your soul. Conclusion: connecting with others. As we reach the close of this journey through connection, it is important to pause and reflect on the path you have traveled. You have explored the power of listening, the practice of empathy and compassion, the strength found in healthy boundaries, the release offered by forgiveness, and the flow of energy in every interaction. You have seen how relationships, both challenging and nurturing, act as mirrors, teachers, and catalysts for your soul's growth. The essence of connecting with others lies in conscious presence. Every conversation, every gesture, every act of love carries the potential to expand your awareness and deepen your understanding of yourself and others. By approaching relationships with intention, compassion, and respect, you transform ordinary encounters into sacred opportunities. Each connection becomes a reflection of your own soul, offering lessons, healing, and the chance to embody the highest qualities of love. As you move forward, remember that connection is not a destination, but an ongoing practice. It is a dance of give and take, presence and reflection, courage and vulnerability. Your relationships will continue to evolve, revealing both challenges and blessings, and each one will invite you to step more fully into your authenticity, empathy, and spiritual power. By embracing these principles, you are not only enriching your personal relationships, you are contributing to the collective awakening of consciousness. Through conscious connection, your heart expands beyond the self, your spirit deepens, and your life becomes a living testament to love, compassion, and harmony. Step into the world with an open heart, and let every connection be an invitation to grow, heal, and love more fully.